What's going on, everybody? This is Benjamin Bakchoy bringing you brand new F1 2021 content. Today, going to be starting a brand new Make America Great Again series featuring Haas. Going to be going with no assists or anything like that. I want to try to get into this game without running any assists or the racing line or anything like that. Just setting the difficulty to 100 just because the car kind of sucks right now, and I'm not quite used to the handling model yet, as it's really only day 2 of the game's release. So I'm sure if you've watched any of my previous videos, you know that I generally run between 105 and 108 in F1 2020. That's where I'm usually comfortable, but because this game's kind of new, I figure we'll start at 100. If it's too easy, then we'll bump it up a couple of points and see how we do. But for now, 100 is a good place to start. Anyway, I'm sure if you probably already saw picking Jarno Opmeer as our avatar just because America loves champions, and he is the F1 2020 esports champion. And going with Mick Schumacher as our teammate. And without further ado, we'll get going. I'm going to skip practice and everything just because it's kind of boring. Nobody wants to watch that crap anyway. So we'll jump ahead to qualifying and see how we do. So if you've seen any videos that have been released already about F1 2021, you'll know that the cars are a little bit slower. They're a little bit more understeery. The handling mechanics are actually a little bit different. I feel like you can get better traction out of corners than you could in the previous game. But yeah, the handling's a little bit different. Haven't quite gotten it down yet, so just excuse my driving ability. And I haven't really figured out the setup system yet. I've just kind of stolen a time trial setup, and that's what you see me tinkering around with right now. But anyway, here we go. We're gonna go on our first qualifying lap in the Haas.
Let's go.
And this car is, I think, above the Williams, but I'm pretty sure it's tied with the Williams when it comes to performance. So I'm not really sure what a good lap should be, but as you can see, we invalidate our first lap here, which kind of sucks. But at least we have a lap time to kind of go by for our next attempts. This is attempt number 2, and as you can see, we're about 3/10 up. And we do manage to actually keep it clean this time, so we put up a lap time, but it's really not that great. Only about 2/10 better than our invalidated lap. Good enough for P19, right underneath George Russell. George Russell, that's a very good American name, strong American name. I'm glad to be next to another American on track, but I don't like being P19. And so here we go on our third and final attempt in quali, and we're already up, which is good, looking good. I always like to see green when I'm looking at the Delta. Oh hey, look at that, red, white, and blue on the position chart up there. That's always great. And I'm happy that the car is red, white, and blue as well. I'm sure that has something to do with it being an American car. And being owned by Gene Haas, who is an American. So red, white, and blue kind of works out for everybody. Perfect for this Make America Great Again in F1 series. So as you can see, halfway through Sector 2, just a little under a half a second up on our previous best. Every corner feels like a battle trying to get the car to turn in. And the curbs aren't like the curbs from the last game, so still going to take some time to get used to which curbs I can use and which curbs I'll have to avoid. But for the most part, I think Bahrain is a pretty similar track to last year, and it looks beautiful in this game. I've never been to Africa, but Bahrain looks beautiful. I'd love to visit Bahrain sometime. But anyway, I think that was about 7 or 8/10 better than our last lap, which puts us Come on. Lewis Hamilton, P1, Mercedes, Red Bull, McLaren, Red Bull, McLaren. So our lap was good enough for P16, ahead of Raikkonen, George Russell, Schumacher, and Latifi. Oh, that's a... George Russell is an American. That's kind of a weird flag that they put next to his name. But anyway.
The fans really seem to enjoy that. You made it look easy.
I know. What can I say?
Qualifying session for you. Are you going to carry that momentum into the race?
Of course I am, baby.
It looks like you've really been focusing on research and development this season.
I don't know what research and development is. I leave that to the eggheads in the tech department. Thank you.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal. And it's make or break here at round 1 of this year's Formula One World Championship. We go racing today around 3.36 miles of the magnificent Bahrain International Circuit, with 15 corners and 2 good passing opportunities into turns 1 and 4. Keep an eye out for drivers locking the front left tyre into the tricky braking zone of turn 10. So here we are in 2021 at the start of another Formula One World Championship. It all begins here. Mercedes looking to retain their hold on the title. Red Bull seeking to secure their position as the main contender for that title. Ferrari no doubt hoping for a fresh start following their difficulties last year. And elsewhere on the grid, the prospect of some really exciting battles, including between the newly rebranded Aston Martin and Alpine teams. Lots to discuss then with Anthony Davidson, who's joined me in the commentary box for today's event.
It's good to be back, Crofty. Let's hope for some good racing today. We can't know at this point how competitive these teams are relative to each other, but hopefully nobody is able to run and hide. We want to see these drivers pushing to the limit all the way to the checkered flag.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have Verstappen, Norris, Sergio Perez and Ricciardo, Stroll, Sainz, Vettel and Charles Leclerc, Gasly, Fernando Alonso, Yuki Tsunoda and Ocon, Giovinazzi, Byrne, Kimi Raikkonen and George Russell, Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out. Then let's see who can prevail today.
Alright, so here we go, start of the race. Starting P16 on the mediums, going to be doing a one-stop strategy here. Still not really sure how to do the starts. I think 4 bars of acceleration this year is better than 3 bars. I've been trying 3 bars pretty much the entire first day of release and having some issue getting traction. I tried 4 and 5 and they seem like they are a little bit better for the starts than 3 acceleration bars. So give that a try if you're having some issues with the starts in this game. And we managed to get out in front of Raikkonen for a little bit, but he does get that position back. Really no point in fighting. We're in a boat on wheels. So we're slow as hell right now. But we're just going to kind of stick in between these 2 Alfa Romeos right here. Hopefully Raikkonen can drag us along and eventually pass some more cars. I don't think that's going to happen, but we can still always hope anyway. But lap 1 so far, pretty good. Not too many issues. No other issues for any other cars on track as well. And it looks like everybody's made it through the first 2 sectors pretty cleanly on lap 1. So I have some high hopes for this race. Having to lift off a little bit through the right-hand corner, which normally would be flat out in the 2020 cars, but the 2021 cars have less aero and less downforce, so you're going to be lifting off through a lot more corners than you're used to. Also, unsure really how these curbs react to the 2021 cars, so I'm going to be kind of tentative with using the curbs on this track. But it seems like, for the most part, Bahrain is pretty much the same as it was last year. Kind of just avoid the curbs on corners and should be okay to use the curves on the straight. So now we are on lap 2, and Yuki goes for a spin. Sayonara, Yuki. We've made a position at the expense of Yuki, up now to P15, one position up from where we started, and looking to make some more progress. And as you can see on the minimap there, the Alpines are starting to fall back from the, looks like maybe the third pack of cars on track. So I don't think we're going to get any much higher than where we're at right now. But still doing well enough to stick to Raikkonen. And I'm sure you'll notice through some of these corners here, the dirty air is much worse this year. Having to really lift off to not go off track on that corner right there. And again, going a little bit deep into the corner just because I'm not used to the handling model yet. But still close enough to Raikkonen here to get DRS. And even though the dirty air is a lot worse this year, it looks like DRS is a little bit stronger and the slipstream is much stronger as well. So we've got a little bit closer to Raikkonen now at the start of lap 5. Gonna try and make an attempt here, turning on ERS as the caution comes out. I'm not sure if I could have overtaken him there without getting a warning, but just decided to back out anyway. And off the side, you can see Gasly there being the cause of the caution. But the one good thing out of that caution is that it's kind of pushed the Alpines back towards us a little bit. As you can see, Ocon and Alonso are more visible on screen now than they were before. They were a little bit further down the road, but it doesn't take them long to make that gap again. As you can see on the straightaway here, they are quite a few seconds in front of Raikkonen. So he doesn't have the benefit of DRS, but we still do. And now on lap 6 here, still trying to close in on Raikkonen as the Alpines fall even further back. And we're kind of blessed here. I'm not really sure what happened there, but as you can see, Raikkonen gets a snap of oversteer and goes for a spin. We've made up another position now up to P13, but we've kind of lost the benefit of having him out in front of us. As we no longer have DRS here, and Giovinazzi is close enough that he can get by us, and I'm not even going to bother fighting this because the Alphas are much faster on the straights than we are anyway, so no point in really wasting my ERS here to try and overtake him. We'll just fall in right behind him, and hopefully he can drag us along a little bit, help us create a little bit of a gap to the Williams behind us. The Williams are right leveled with us on the performance charts, so they still kind of are a threat, but as you can see there, we kind of pulled a second on them during that lap anyway. And as you can see on the map right there, first couple rounds of pit stops are starting to happen. We are making our way up now to P9, and once we fly by the pit lanes here, we make up a couple more positions up to P5. Obviously not a net P5, as we will still be making our pit stop, and I'm sure some of these cars behind us will be passing us within the minute. So we're going to stay on board right here, and it doesn't take long for Bottas to get on our rear wing. And right behind Bottas is Ricciardo chopping at the bit, both of them looking to get by us here and get out into some clean air to get closer to Verstappen and Hamilton out in front. And you can see just the grip difference here on the fresh mediums as Bottas decides he doesn't want to wait any longer and just makes a dive down the inside there, making it look really easy. Our tires are 9 laps old now and just have no grip on them. And Ricciardo getting much better traction than us, and just being in a faster car, doesn't take long to get out in front of us on the DRS straight there. I mean, we didn't have DRS, but I think even with DRS, Ricciardo would have gotten around us anyway. And now Perez is up next behind us, dancing behind our car, as you can see in the mirror, wanting to get by us as fast as possible to get into the fight. I'm not going to fight these guys, but I'm not going to let them by super easy either, as we are still fighting for positions technically, but like I said, we still have to make our pit stop, so no use in fighting too hard. Up next is Norris, Not sure if he's just not using his overtake or anything, as he's not drawing too close to us really fast. But at the end of the straight, just decides to dive it in down on the inside there and get by us. So hopefully these guys battling up front and causing a little bit of a traffic jam will bring Giovinazzi back towards us a little bit. And yeah, as you can see, Giovinazzi is kind of finding his way towards the back of the pack there, and he's again right out in front of us here. So hopefully we can kind of draw in a little bit closer and get by him eventually, as most of the traffic behind us has cleared. But as you can see on the charts and now on screen, Stroll gets right behind us really quickly. And then behind him are the two Ferraris on brand new softs that are going to eventually want to get by us as well. Going to be using DRS off of Stroll here to try and get closer to Giovinazzi. But again, I'm hoping that once this traffic passes us, they'll start battling with each other and bring the Alfa Romeo back towards us. So again, Leclerc making it look easy. Sainz and Vettel behind us as well on brand new tires. Probably going to get by us sooner rather than later. And again, Sainz diving it down the inside and Vettel following suit. Again, not really going to fight these guys. I'll just stake back, get some DRS off of them, and have them drag me along for the moment. And as you can see, the two Williams behind us now 5-6 seconds behind. I dive it into the pit lane. Unbeknownst to me, I picked up wing damage somewhere. So it was a bit of a shock when I pulled in and saw that my pit crew had a brand new front wing ready to go onto my car here. Kind of unfortunate in this instance, as the Williams is now just pulling in to change his tires as well. So looks like we're going to be getting out behind Russell. But we've kind of had the pace on them all race long, so hopefully it doesn't take too long to get back within DRS of George Russell here and pass my fellow American on track. So as you can see here, start of lap 15, Russell is within 1 second. We don't have DRS on him, but these cars coming out of the pit lane kind of get in our way. We do get around Latifi there and somehow pick up DRS. We must have picked up DRS off of Russell on the straight. Latifi tries to get by us on the inside there, but we kind of squeeze him into the apex and he has to back out of it, and we maintain our position.
Caution.
Another yellow comes out, and on the minimap you can see it is an Alfa Romeo, and it is Giovinazzi. So one less person we have to fight for on track. And now we are back up to P14, where we were, I think, before the first couple rounds of pit stops began. So now that we're close enough and we have about 50% of our ERS available to us, going to make one more attempt to get by Russell here on the straight. Doesn't look like there's any traffic coming out of the pit, so this should be relatively easy. I hate to do that to a fellow American with such a strong American name like George Russell. But he is in a Williams and we're in an American car with the American colors on it. I'm sure he doesn't mind. George does try to make it by us again down the inside there, but it's just a little too tight. Can't get the traction. I think there was a little bit of contact, but no major damage on the car or anything like that. And as you can see now, start of lap 19, we've pulled a bit of a gap on George, but we are running out of ERS, and Ocon is coming out of the pits now, kind of getting in our way. Damn French. It's sad that they have red, white, and blue as their colors as well. I just hate seeing that, the French colors on a French car. George tries to make it down the inside of us again, but we have contact once again. He gets the worst of it there. Again, I hate to see a fellow American come into contact with me and then lose out, but We are in the American cars, so I'm sure he doesn't mind. Again, Tsunoda gets by us. No point in fighting. He's in the faster car there. We're going to use him to drag us along again. And now really the only person that's threatening our position is probably Latifi there. About 2 seconds behind us. We picked up some side pod damage when we ran into Russell earlier in turn 4. So we're kind of slow on the straights. Some straights we're barely managing to even get to 8th gear, and some straights we can't even get to 8th gear. So hopefully we'll just have more speed through the corners to stay out in front of Latifi here. But again, he's in Williams, and the difficulty is only at 100, so it probably shouldn't be too much of an issue. There were a couple laps where he did come within 1 second of us, but it didn't really happen around DRS detection zones. So he didn't get the benefit of having DRS on us to close up a little bit. But for the final few laps here, it was a bit touch and go as to whether or not Latifi would get close enough to overtake. And you can see the tire wear there, heavier on the front and lighter on the back, which is kind of the opposite of the 2020 cars, where generally the tire wear was heavier on the rear tires and lighter on the front tires. But I think that's just the nature of the 2021 cars and the new way that the cars are kind of set up. Front brake bias has to be set at 55 or higher, or else the car is just kind of really uncontrollable through the corners. As you can see, I'm still playing around with my setup a bit as the race goes on, trying to see if I can make the car feel a little bit better, but it feels like every time I messed around with the brake bias or differential, the car just felt worse. So I just stuck with the time trial settings that I had when I started the race, and the car felt fine. Tire wear as it went on made the car feel a little bit more loose, but the setup that I began with felt better than anything that I could really do toying around with the brake bias or differential. It'll probably take some time before I'm used to the setup, the new setups of these cars, that I'll be able to figure out how to actually set up a car properly for the races. But as you can see now in our final lap, the fireworks are already going off as Max Verstappen has crossed the finish line. We are in P14. Latifi pit for some reason onto a brand new pair of softs. Don't really know. Maybe he got some damage when we made contact out of the final turn on the previous lap. But doesn't really matter anyway, as we're out of the points. But it's still pretty good progress for us, making up 2 positions during the race, even though really one of them was, actually both of them were cars DNFing. One was Gasly and the other being Giovinazzi. So we probably would have finished where we started, but still good signs that we're beating our teammate and beating the 2 Williams cars, even though Russell kind of fell back just because he made contact with us. But I think we had the pace on him anyway. He probably wouldn't have made it past us during the race. But here we go, setting 2 green sectors on our final lap. Didn't set a new fastest lap, but still P14, good enough. That's the American way. We didn't come in last. Yay.
It was a magnificent race and a drive right out of the top draw to take the win for Red Bull today. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I really feel the track layout combined with the track temperatures we saw today suited their car. These cars come alive when the tyres are just at the right temperature, and the driver did a great job managing that as well. They just look so comfortable out there. It's like anything, it always looks so easy when it all just clicks.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible
Alright, so
driving.
on the podium,
It's
Max
been a huge
Verstappen
push
in
from them
P1,
to
Lewis
stay
Hamilton
competitive
P2,
with the
and
other
Ricciardo
teams, and they're
P3.
certainly proving themselves.
Interesting. Not really a real life finish, but It's all right. I like Daniel Ricciardo. I like seeing him on the podium. But anyway, guys, that is the first race of our Make America Great Again in F1 featuring Haas. I hope that was entertaining for you guys. You know, still got to work out some bugs and some kinks. I got a new computer and this is a brand new game. But I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you think I deserve it, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe, and stay tuned for some more videos.
Take over as championship leaders. Well, and an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
The fans really seemed to enjoy that. You made it look easy. You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
Yeah, they better be.
It wasn't the cleanest race today, was it?
Look, they need to get out of my way,
Great.
all right?
Well, that's everything.
I'm American, and I have the right of way on track.